this is, I think, the best way to go about learning the 4 Schubert impromptus is to do, as you do number 4, number 3 and number 2, which are the easier ones, you do at the same time the first 1, 2, 3, 4 sides of the first impromptu, which is the most difficult by a long way. It's not difficult technically, but it's I mean, it's there are no patterns really. I mean, there are a few, sure, but in the first 4 pages, for example, there aren't many. It's not easy to memorize, and it's it is quite difficult technically, actually, as opposed to the number 2, 3 and 4, which have all these lovely patterns or arpeggios, all the same thing again and again. But what the number 1 does have going for it is the beautiful two beautiful sections it has, which are the bits that go like this. Those two. In fact, the best way, if anyone wants, even I think a beginner probably could do this. Certainly a beginner could do this little bit, the beautiful bit. If there's one bit of Schubert you could do, it could be this beautiful section of this very difficult impromptu, because it's not difficult at all. And also it will encourage you to learn this more difficult one. I've never really liked this first impromptu myself, so I must admit that these 2 beautiful sections, it's the same section which repeats nearer the end, slightly different, in different key, etc. It is truly beautiful, so it's definitely worth learning just that bit. So I'm going to teach you how to do it. Here we go. It comes around sort of 4 times, basically, this beautiful theme, 2 times in each of the sections. So we'll just do the first section and the 2 times that it happens. Okay, are you ready? Don't muck around, concentrate and follow, otherwise I'm wasting my time and you're wasting yours. Okay? Thank you. So, just start from here. By the way, this is measure 74. Sorry. You can just do that bit if it's too difficult to do the second. The second time is a bit more beautiful even, so I'll do the second bit as well. Look at that, beautiful. This is a bit tricky here, but not too bad. Sorry. Yeah. Now here. So that's my recommendation for having a really easy opening to learning the 4 impromptus. Just those measures. So it's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 measures, and just the chord at the beginning of the 9th measure. Really easy. It's the most beautiful part. I think it's more beautiful than the second time that comes round near the end of the impromptu. Those 2 beautiful melodies come again. And that one's a bit more beautiful in my opinion. So it's a really nice way, a really nice entry into it. It'll give you a hold to do this first impromptu, which is so much more difficult. And in my opinion, it's not as good. It's not as I mean, I've got a theory about it actually. The theory is it's not supposed to be very Schubertian. I think that he specifically did it as a homage to Beethoven. It's a funeral march. It's just to commemorate Beethoven's death. So he I mean, certainly, you know, at the beginning. All that. It is. Anyway, it's very un-Schubertian, but I think commemorates Beethoven's death. And what my theory is that Schubert specifically did it in order to kind of pave the way for this new bearer of the classical torch, you know, which I'm sure knew he was after Beethoven's death. So it's like saying goodbye to Beethoven with that funeral march. There is some Schubertian elements to it, of course. There's the brook. And all that, but it always comes back to the march in one way or another, you know. And it ends with the march as well. It's good. I mean, this beautiful section that I've just taught you is also very Schubertian in the sort of cathartic way that Schubert has, for example, in his in the D960. That's that. Sorry. The beautiful chords in that. Or beautiful elements, these beautiful moments. That's another one. They are so that is there as well, but that's just to sort of make it known that it's not just a Beethoven piece. It's to also look forward to what Schubert would produce, because as I've looked at it, there aren't many places really before 1827 where Schubert was doing these incredible things with music, you know. Incredible things that hadn't been done before in music and have not been done subsequent to Schubert. Not such extremities of passion and such breaches into the divine, if you can put it that way. No one's done it before or since. So it's interesting that there is one instance for sure, which is the G major quartet in the second movement that has such a moment. But you know, I mean, but I'm thinking before 1827, that apart from that G major quartet, perhaps in the G major sonata, in that first movement, maybe it's quite beautiful. It has a beautiful beginning to it, but it's not that beautiful. Yeah, it's not in the same category as the G major quartet, second movement, or the or everything which came, not everything, but most things which came after 1827, after basically these impromptus. Okay, so there's a beautiful moment in the D958 sonata as well, in the fourth movement, the last movement. It's a beautiful. Whatever. That's the beautiful, perfect moment there, and you know, in the piano trio number 2, especially, there's a beautiful moment in the final movement, in my opinion, and yeah, there's you know, there's in some of the songs as well, like many of the songs, there are such moments as well. Not so much the moments in the songs, it's just like beautiful songs, like the ones. Well, anyway, which is included in the Schwallengesang collection. And of course the symphonies, second symphony, so the second symphony I think was before 1827 as well. I mean the 8th symphony rather, second movement, first movement of the 8th symphony. It's beautiful, but generally speaking they were after, and there's nothing I can pin down for that movement, a symphony which is particularly beautiful. So again, the beginning is very beautiful in a way. Da dee da dee 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 dee. Yeah. So there's no particularly stunning movement of catharsis. It's the cathartic moment that I'm thinking of with Schubert's works, and they're generally, I think, speaking, come after 1827, after these impromptus, the first set of impromptus. This first of the second set of impromptus, absolutely stunning work in F minor. That has that middle section with the hands across. It's absolutely beautiful. The fourth impromptu of that set, the slow part of that, the piano Klavierstück, the third one of that has again a very beautiful moment in it. It's a very long, drawn out section of that final Klavierstück, or the party crossed out of the first Klavierstück, or the bit which I just played of the second one. Listen to this. Wait. absolutely beautiful. And of course the quintet, the second movement, absolutely sublime. And the first movement as well, that quintet, is sublime. Almost as good as the quartet. In my opinion, the G major quartet is even better. But that quintet, incredible. The quartets is beautiful as well. But it's not, it hasn't got the moments of sublimity, of the sublime. So hopefully this part that I showed you will get you into the first impromptu, which is the most difficult. And if you're anything like me, it's your least favourite. It is growing on me a lot though as I play it. And once you've done that, you can then go back to the fourth impromptu and go through all the impromptus, 4, 3 and 2, and until you get to number 1. But while you do it, going through number 4, 3 and number 2, now that you've got that beginning, the beautiful bit of the 2 beautiful bits in that first impromptu, you can also start doing the first impromptu. And I'd recommend, as I say, doing the first 4 pages, which end with that beautiful bit, as you do the number 4, number 3, and number 2 impromptus, so that you've already got the first 4 done of this very long impromptu, and it gives you the impetus to want to finish that first impromptu, because then you'll have all 4 impromptus. And so I think they're the 4 easiest pieces to play, which also sound spectacular and are possible for an amateur pianist. And my Beethoven-line teacher tells me that, as well as all Beethoven sonatas, except for the last 5, except for the last 5 Beethoven sonatas. All Beethoven sonatas are all possible for an amateur pianist. So there we go. But you know, so you can do 2 sonatas as you do these 4 impromptus. I do the Moonlight Sonata and the Pathétique Sonata. I'm trying to do them anyway, so because they take up half an hour together, and these impromptus take up half an hour. So you've got a nice balance of 2 half-hour works. I would recommend anyone to do this. I would recommend the Pathétique and the Moonlight Sonata. They may not be your favourite sonatas, they're not my favourite, but what can you do? You know, they are probably the easiest to do. Although, as my Beethoven line, she comes from the line of Beethoven through Nikolaev and through Liszt, through Leschetizky and Nikolaev. She says that all of the Beethoven sonatas, except for the last 5, are possible as well for sort of an amateur pianist, basically. Someone with about 5 years playing time. Yeah, and you know, I've never learned any scales, so I can't sight read music, and yet this Beethoven-line teacher tells me that it's possible to do these 4 Schubert impromptus and those 2 Beethoven sonatas. I would recommend everyone do these pieces. Okay, so thank you very much, and I'll see you in the next video. All the best, and I hope it goes well with your learning.